So for this one I'm actually going to fast forward a little bit and see what the players are up to. If this is indeed the right recording, we're going to see a triple douche, so we'll have to toggle one of the Persians players here, I guess. So we have Vietnamese and Persians on the same team, so I'm assuming that that I'm on the right point of view now. And do we have Persians on the left flank? This is Shane 94. Okay, let's see what Shane is up to here. Right, so the recording is titled Why Hello There, Triple Douche. So we have Persians, we have Vietnamese, we have Portuguese, and we have Persians. So, here's the thing. With Vietnamese, you get to know the enemy's locations. With Portuguese, you get free cartography, so you get to see what your allies are doing at all times. Right now, all good so far. And on the flanks, we have Persians on the left side for Shane 94. We have Persians on the right side for Smith TV. And since the recording is entitled Triple Douche, I think we know what we might expect here from this team game. It's about to reveal it this early. Let's just see what the opponent's team is up to. So it looks pretty standard here, some houses, some some random palisade walls here from Red. I think Red might suspect what the players are up to here with double Persian's flanks. Yeah, Pocket seems to be sensing no danger. We have Persian's Pocket here as well, actually. Usually the most common position for Persians in team games. And then we have Apex Predator here playing as Indians, also with some kind of strategic house placement here, just in case a TC drop will come to happen here. On the right hand side, a bit of scouting from Danny here. The other flank is Turks, and also dropping these random palisades here with hopes to keep a TC push from not happening as easily here. It's the great escape for Exchange 94 here, sending total of 9 villagers forward. And now let's see what they're up to. No movements on the right hand side just yet. Smith TV only with 18 villagers total. And look at this, Teal is moving forward as well. He is going to go probably to red here. Whereas Shane 94 has very... What's the player? Are they actually going to douche the same player? What is this? Alright. Okay, let's have a look at Red's point of view here and see if Red is sensing something's going on. He must have seen the scores dropping. Here comes the TC. So surprise, you're not being douched by Persians here, you're being douched by Vietnamese. And meanwhile, I think Shane is not going to red at all, he's going all the way to the pocket. And we see a bit of walling here, but Jerk Cassius obviously sensing no danger. Right hand side, we have blue villagers forward as well from Smith TV here. Not nearly enough palisades around here for Danny V to stop this. And I think we're looking at another TC drop here as well. Vietnamese douche though, not something you see every day. Let's have a look at yellow here. Nice scouting intel from yellow here to see the villagers moving forward. Did probably see the score drop for Shane. No, we can't see the score drop from Shane because Shane is not up yet. Walls may or may not keep Shane out here though. Let's see. Yeah, so TC goes down for the Vietnamese player, going to drop another one closer to the enemy, I'd assume. Almost loses. Oh, loses it! Oh, oh boy. No stone left from the deal. This is a disaster piece if I've ever seen any. Here comes a defensive tower from Jerk Cassius in the middle and a TC drop from Shane94. Sends a few villagers to stop the tower from going up, and the TC meanwhile is may or may not be produced in time here. Persians TC war here, but with yellow investing into the defensive tower here means that yellow cannot drop another TC if this one goes down. What a mess. So Vietnamese douche, total failure here, now going for the hunt, to take the hunt of the Mines player instead, and there's not really much to hit in the Vietnamese home base here. Not on Shane's side either. On the Blues side we have the TC up for the Persians player here. Turks already in the village, but at risk of losing the town center and committing 3 whole villagers to repairs. So the wood count is just diminishing very quickly here for Danny V. Danny V also investing into a defensive tower. Does not have stone for another TC, so if this one goes down, it's very, very bad news for Danny V, who is about to run out of wood. And it's Turks TC versus Persians TC. So yeah, Danny V absolutely risking to lose the TC here, or if he keeps preparing, risk not being able to drop a new one when it eventually goes down. Good defense from Jerk Cassius over here though to stop the Persian TC drop on this side, and now we need to look at the populations here for the players. The village counts surprisingly decent for most of the players here, but let's look at Shane with 14 villagers only, and TC just never going up here. So Shane is left with no TC, with economy to drop another one though. Might be thinking about dropping one on the Mayans player maybe, because the Vietnamese player failed over here. But the most successful douche so far this game is definitely Smith TV on the right hand side. Archers are on the move for the red player. Let's look at the Vietnamese player's situation here. Stone for another TC, but doesn't have one yet. So we only have 3 archers and eagle plus fetching here, but Cap Joe doesn't have any place to garrison the villagers, so quick walling won't help archers again. Didn't even take the second board. This Vietnamese player is just crazy plays here from this team. Okay, fleeing, going to try and seek refuge in the grey player space. There's nothing to flee to there really. I'm not even sure what's going on here. TC is still not rebuilt for Shane94. Where is Shane94? He is with 14 villagers as well. And he's just trying to salvage what he can here to try and get this TC up, I guess. No, here we go. He's on the move, has wood and stone for another TC, going to drop it over here probably. Right hand side, still TC is up for the Turks player. Danny V here, 26 villagers total. Let's have a look at their resources here. Running dangerously low, and douche seems to be a success on the right hand side. Meanwhile we have the Portuguese pocket, the only one not douching. Going to hard carry this one. What the fuck is this? It was a submitted game, Superman, by Why Hello There, surprisingly enough. I asked him if he had any multiple douche games in his library, and he sent me a game entitled Triple Douche. Looks like Turks player is going to lose his TC here. We'll have to rebuild that, and he doesn't have the stone for it. Doesn't have the wood for it. This is effectively rendering the Turks player useless here. Whereas Smith TV now has a new base up for grabs here, unless Danny V can force some repairs here, but given the current wood count, doesn't look too right, this TC is going down. And now Smith TV is going for the stone here, so that's not going to be possible to take for Smith TV. There was a little bit of sling sent though, but that's not really gonna help. The wood sling isn't gonna help Danny B here, because he will needs the stone as well. It's tasking 22 villagers, no less, to collect stone here and to try and get the next TC up. Right hand side, Mayans player seems to have stabilized. Top side, the grey Persian TC actually goes up, but looking at the apps here, it's Castle, Feudal, Dark Age, Teal with the TC up now on the golden wood line of his ally who left the home base here. And now some knights from washed up pleb here moving forward from the pocket position to try and dominate the game here. So triple douche with Portuguese pocket knight support here. Let's see how this plays out. Turks are essentially out of the game now. Smith TV is in the feudal age, dropping a tower on the wood income of Danny V here, who's struggling a lot for wood, but dropping the new TC on wood here. Whereas the Indians player, who has been untouched admittedly, sends in some camels to deal with Smith TV's forward here. Score does look less than uplifting for the douching team though, and military numbers as well looking more healthy for the opposing team. But heck, I guess it's all about delaying the opponents here and getting the stuff done here. We have knights with +1 here at least, and TC pushing at the same way. Means that the knights could stop yellow from repairing here, and yellow is with actually has a little bit of stone, so could rebuild, but yeah, if you lose this TC, we'll have to rebuild it and will not be seeing Cast Age anytime soon, even though the resources are looking somewhat close to being able to do so. Camels now in washed up pleb's eco, which is really bad news for washed up pleb with most of the army out of position. Let's see if there's a reaction here. Smith TV enjoying his new base to the right here, has some income at home as well with an enemy scout just chilling out over here. We still have 2 players in the Dark Age with the Vietnamese and Persian players here though, and the villager count of Capcho is looking less than stellar here. 24 villagers still in Dark Age with extreme amounts of stone in the bank. But the forward seems to be limited success here. Mayans player with quite a significant number of archers now, dropping more TCs and is going to boom the hell out of the opponents here. 2 players in the cast stage now from the douche team, and even though they are kind of losing one Persian pocket here, we're still looking rough here for the team that went for the douches. Thanks for the follow. What was it, Gaius? There's something wrong with the Twitch only for now. Thanks for following. Gaius is best Colossus. I appreciate it. Did you submit any games yet, Gaius? I could do one after this if you have one you'd want to look on. I could try and provide some insights. Flares are real. They're flaring the TC to be to attack the repairers here. Knights still only with +1. Mayans archers coming in from behind. That's bad news for washed up plebs knights, but the TC should go down for Cassius here. You're about to upload. Sounds good, man. We'll have a look after this one and see if we can provide some insights. Oh, yellow is on the verge of being defeated. 5 villagers left. What? that yellow calls GG being down to 4 villagers. I could actually understand the frustration here, by all means. But it's by no means GG for Yellow's team though. Because there are 2 players in the Castle Age. Then we just Smith TV just reaching the Castle Age as well. Now with Stables and Blacksmith up here. Yeah, it's not over. It's certainly looking decent for the douching team all of a sudden, because they managed to actually take 1 player completely out of the game here. But here come the Indians Camels. That's going to make it rough for the Portuguese. Will force a tech switch for the Portuguese player here. +2 Knights though against +2 Camels. Should be the Camels fight to win with roughly similar numbers. Knights Raids doing work on El Visigordo's eco though. Only 30 villagers for Visigordo here, and yeah. All things considered, we have the douching team. They are in fact up 1 player now, even if one of their players, like Capjo here, is with a pretty weak economy and stance at the moment. They will eventually, once the teammates get Reboom going, will be fighting 4 against 3, and that means 200 more puff space potentially. Camel's going down for Apex Predator here as well, and going to grant Shane a lot of free farms here to take from Jercasius. Even walling off a bit and using the walls of Jercasius as their own walls here for the timing. You just uploaded it. It's a really dumb game. Okay, we'll see what we we can do about it. I'll fetch it after this one. Looks like Washed Up Pleb wants to go for Apex Predator now. Maybe with a coordinated effort with Smith TV, if Smith TV has any military at all. Not really. Scorpions and Camels pushing here on Smith TV. It's looking rather tough for Smith TV to hold this off right now, given the lack of military. But I think they may have extended some economy, or considering to extend some economy at home. Eco looks healthy for Smith TV here. Could siege push like crazy with this kind of wood and gold. I could have won, but I just made some questionable decisions. Oh yeah, a story of my life right there. So we'll see what we can do about that. Danny B moving in here. Looks like they might want to drop a castle or something, or a TC. It's a castle! Castle drop protected by Scorpion's fire from Danny V means that the defensive towers with TV should not go up here. And the castle might very well go up and threaten the one and only TC of Smith TV. On the other hand, we see Shane 94 really stabilizing, taking all of the enemy farms. And this is so much free food right here. That's something to remember as well. You could easily convert enemy farms to your own once you just right click them, and then they will be yours. Turk's castle goes up though, and will certainly put Smith TV on the back foot here. Still, we have a Portuguese player almost untouched from the pocket. Triple TC boom, likely with the highest villager counts of all, and in a good spot to carry this game. Yeah, Smith TV losing a lot here now. 40 villagers, 13 idle. Still has some eco working at home. This should easily, it's just send 1 camel this direction and you are fine. You could raid a lot here if you catch Smith TV off guard. Scores somewhat similar here, but Yellow did tap completely out, being down to 4 villagers. Didn't feel like there was a way back into this game. And as a result, Shane 94 is taking over Yellow's old base here. Good old base trade right there. Mines player stabilizing a bit here with defensive castles, going for the eco as well. 46 villagers now, 41 military. And sending the crossbows to Capcho's side here to, yeah, idle the eco and make life tough for Capcho on this side. Smith TV committing to the hairs. Look at the scores though. Mines player, pretty decent. Large army, largest army all here, but washed a pleb from the Portuguese in the pocket here. Not unlikely to be the first player to the Imperial Age here, but still investing heavily into army, of course. Some siege being added by Danny V here now to support the castle push. It's not too easy to take out Persian TCs, that's why they are a favorite for the douche play as well. They have double the HP of the generic TC is 2400 for a generic TC, 4800 for a Persian TC. Smith TV with an attempt for a defensive tower here, but that's not going to happen. At least has some gold access here to some extent near this TC. Could be within castle range, especially if Danny B gets fletching on Balkan here. Mines on the forward with siege and going to try and take out the Vietnamese player. And I think they're making the wrong call here now, not addressing the green player here. That's the player who has been the most untouched here. Just don't worry too much about the Vietnamese, even though your mines and need your archers. Would be better to try and focus the more or less untouched pocket. Two Magdalens out for Visigordo. I think we'll be seeing at least one going down now to washed up plebs knights here. Indians camels pushing Shane 94 now, Castle Age, Feudal Age, Storm on the way to the Castle Age as well. And suddenly we'll be seeing all 4 players of the douching team to reach the Castle Age here. 0 population for Jerry Cassius here, that's a huge issue for the long run for the team that were douche, Lanob's team here, because they will eventually be fighting 200 more population. Also, the fully upgraded knights against Castle Age camels without full upgrades. When the knights have the numbers, this is a fight that washed up pleb can easily take. Shouldn't use only the 3 knights here, all these 3 will go down, but it also buys time for Shane to get some camels production going, and they will be looking at a nice joint effort to take out the enemy forward here. Castle drop now from El Visigordo. It's not going to stop Capjo from reaching the Castle Age, but it's certainly going to cripple a lot of the economy here yet again for the Vietnamese. Doucher, Portuguese knights in abundance here, going to take out the Indian scavens, especially since the Indian scavens are lacking that last attack upgrade. Meanwhile, Smith TV is going into monk defense here. Might be looking at some cheap conversions here on whatever the third player brings to the field. Probably camels. Could be thinking about relic collection here as well for some alternative gold income maybe. Look at washed up pleb now. He's going to go for raids on the very exposed and not fully walled Indians player here. This could be devastating with the current army numbers of the Apex Predator being only 9. So again, we have El Visigordo here with 63 military, almost MVP for his team here. But again, I feel like they're pushing the wrong player. This Vietnamese player is light years behind everyone else. Anyway, you have to apply pressure to the pocket. Maybe they haven't even scouted the pocket for all I know. Yeah, splitting out the knights here, going for some raids, idling virtually the whole economy of Apex Predator here. 60 to 39, I mean 60 villagers to 9 idols, washed up pleb with almost twice those numbers. Keeping the army numbers low, good team efforts here from the douching team to, again, contest. Contest the correct players. Turks player has stabilized a bit as well, 2 TCs now and 59 villagers total, but still not bringing too much military to the field, whereas the Mayans player now might finally be heading for the pocket position here. And Smith TV somehow is making it to the Imperial Age. Wow. Douching, losing forwards with 48 villagers going Imperial Age. Actually, not losing the MTC. Where's the MTC? I need to see that one. Ah, it's over here. It's in his old main base. So I imagine if Smith TV was researching Imperial Age in one of the front TCs here, he would actually be cancelling the Imperial Age and losing that one. But now we have it in. Looks like he wants to go into some kind of infantry play here with Persians, going for the halbs maybe against the Indian camels. Whereas Washed Up Pleb is getting some serious raids in on Apex Predator's economy still. 53 villagers, 25 idols total for the Apex Predator here. Well, Visigodos slowly but steadily moving in towards Washed Up Pleb's eco here. And we'll be getting some easy kills here on the Portuguese Knights with these choke points here. But I'm not sure if that's going to be enough damage overall to negate the fact that they are inevitably down at least somewhere between 50 and 100 villagers here. Let's see Capcho's numbers, 36 villagers. And Grey probably a more than decent number as well, 51 now. Strong archers forward, Imperial Age is in as well. That should mean then that Arbalest is right around the corner for the Mayans player here. Look at him getting obsidian arrows as well. So now he's going to have siege archers with Mayans here to more easily take out buildings. Knights on the top here for Washed Up Pleb, letting away the raids for now. 51 villagers for the Indians player. Only 2 military though, so no camels to support the war efforts here. Even with Imperial Age here for Apex Predator can't really play to the Indians' strengths here. Alright, so Battle of the Armies here. Where is the Arbalest upgrade? It's on the way, Thumbring is on the way, Conscription is on the way to more easily sustain constant production. We have some Turks camels here helping out as well. They could work sort of nicely as a meat shield in front of the Portuguese knights here. Soon to be Cavalier though. But this is a massive Arbalest you don't just mess around with. Meanwhile, we have Capcho back in the game here with lots of Rattan archers over here. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the stats. Maybe we'll be seeing some slinging here. Yeah, not too much. Sitting under a castle with these Rattan archers, pushing with 2 battering rams, losing the TC over here. I'm not sure if Capcho even has a TC now, but. Nope. So won't be any more villagers added. It's going to be full army for Capcho here, maybe some castles to push as well. As we have some cavaliers pushing away here, going to deal with the Indians, Turks, camel raiders easily here, and then with cavalier with full defense and I think also the full attack upgrades to chase here. Right now though, red is the main contributor in terms of army in the game here for his team. So if these arbalists go down, it's going to take a while for the team being douched to get back into it here. Hitting and running towards the hill here, getting some nice KD, but look at Washed Up Pleb here with 171 to 109 units here. Very good KD for Washed Up Pleb, knowing when and where to take the fights. Still has some cavaliers in the north as well. Could yet again go for the raids. However, now we have Indian heavy camels. Little bit of trade in progress here for So Shane 94 made the trade card, maybe by accident, who knows? And is actually trading with a dead Persian's player. Fantastic. Maybe he's not washed up. Yeah, maybe not. Looks more like a pleb and not washed up to me. Did lose the Cavaliers forward to Indians heavy camels though. It's just a pleb. Exactly. A pleb who doesn't even contest two very easily killed mangonels in the middle of the field here. So we're going to go for some raids again here for washed up pleb. Castle with ballistics doing their work here to weaken the Cavalier as it goes. Meanwhile, we have Capjob pushing with the Rams from this side and Rattan Archers, and the Mayans military only 13 here. Some pikemen in the mix, +1/+1. Shouldn't really be a challenge in small numbers for the Cavaliers here. And again, we have the Rattan Archers as well. We have some heavy camels in the north from the Apex Predator though. And Danny V with some military on the field as well, but Danny V seems busy trying to push blue here, maybe? Yeah, heavy cavalry's going to shred these cavaliers in the north here, unless Shane can bring something to the field. He's going paladin actually, so Shane seems to have stabilized pretty nicely here. Indian player probably doesn't know that he can delete to resign allies buildings. No, probably not. They would have done that by far from now. Oh, look at these Rattan Archers from Capjob doing work here. Lowest score in his team, but really contributing with army here with 36 Rattan Archers forward, denying a castle here and building an offensive castle on the gold as well. Going to deny Visigordo of gold here. And Visigordo calls the G and then the GG. And they are fighting 3 vs 4 after all, since Jercasius went this far behind. Then we just calls the 11, which makes sense. GG 11. And yeah. You never want to lose to a triple douche in a team game, so I'm absolutely following the line of play here. But we have to commend Washed Up Pleb and his team for the strategy as well, to buy so much time for the pocket to get into it and to just get going and get the raids in at the right places at the right times. And that calls for some game knowledge and gameplay reading after all. So crazy game, actually completely defeating Jercasius here down to 4 villagers, but even with 4 villagers you can still reboom and then try and get back into the game so that your team doesn't have to fight 600 population against 800 should it come to a pop-capped situation. Persian team bonus helped so much for doing against crossbows. Yes, absolutely. Look at the KD for Washed Up Pleb though, 284 to 162. Pretty decent. Largest army for the Mayans player, but it was mainly on his own over there. And his 2 trade profit for Chain is 26. He did trade with his dead enemy there. And then there's the Turks over here, and look at these up times. Castlage for Washed Up Pleb, the only one, and the Indians player pretty decent, somewhat standard Castlage times, otherwise just all over the place here, and obviously not everyone reaching Imperial Age. Archer plays tend to have the largest armies, yeah, that's true. And I kind of need that to contest cavalry and take map control. when you can't run around. Villager twice that of any other player here for Step Lab. Had all the time in the world to boom and just enjoy it as for easier. So just get me a moment. I really need to go to the toilet, and then we'll go to a submitted game after. Feel free, anyone who is in the chat, to chip in as we review one of Gaia's is Best Colossus' games. Alright, we're back. Sorry for the background noise there. Next time I might put on some music so the flushing the toilet sounds just don't shine through as much on the mic. Anyway, we're going to do a recording review here of Akkal-AOE, or in chat is Gaius is best Colossus. Here we go. 14 kappa, yes. Alright, so we're going to spend most of the time on Akkal-AOE's point of view here, picking Bulgarians, this one, against Mayans. So we're on Arabia here, right? Yes. So let's talk a little bit about the civilizations first here. So here's the thing, it's real fun to play Bulgarians and all, but they are classified as an infantry and cavalry civilization. Whereas Mayans, pretty obvious go-to is the archers, because their archers are great, they have all the upgrades, and they are also cheaper for the Mayans, so they have an easier time massing them as well. So that's already a setback for Bulgarians, unfortunately, putting Douglas in an awkward spot here, because the infantry isn't really necessarily a viable play for Akkal-AOE here. Overlay? What do you mean overlay one? Yeah, anyway. So Bulgarians can't play into one of their strengths here, because the enemy will in 99 out of 100 times go for the archers. That would effectively negate Bulgarians going for at least for a man-at-arms opening here, an early rush maybe, but then again, Bulgarians have a decent potential to go scouts or to go for the knights in the castle age, and then you'd force some kind of reaction from Mayans, because if you could get to a decent chunk of knights with full armor as Bulgarians, then you could contest quite huge groups of crossbows, as long as they don't stay in a choke point. So there are options for Bulgarians here, but unfortunately for 1v1 Arabia, Mayans, with their resources lasting longer and everything, they're just a top tier civ that so many people play. Sure, they're lacking the knights and the cavalry, but they have cheaper archers, can easily mass army, and they have the raiding potential in the Eagle Warriors. And Obila one says, attack the enemy with skirmishers. And onto that, you want to go into some skirmishers maybe if the Mayans go for massed archers. The problem being that then the Mayans player could go for the Eagle Warriors and your skirmishers would just melt, or even some siege. On the right side though, we see Akkal-AOE here, consistent production from the town center, no significant idle time, places houses just in time here, so no unnecessarily idle time here, actually with a slight villager lead here over the opponent. I like the scouting as well. We have some found the golds here, one main gold, side gold, and there's a secondary gold as well. Thought the bot would just translate the commands. No, I haven't been adding all of the all of those. But okay, that one fixed it for me, so that's good. So, okay, here's a good one for you, Blue Akkal-AOE here. Good scouting, now knows of all the resources, and as you can see, the resources are really not doing you any favors here. We have forward main gold, side golds and stalls here. Arguably this could be secured by some kind of walls here. But it's never ideal to have all resources forward like this. Preferably you'd have one gold in the back, and then you'd be in a much better spot, not falling subject to early archers around here. So scout now in the enemy base, seeing some houses going up, sees the berries. Could be a point of entry for any militia into man-at-arms forward here for Akkal-AOE. So So tell me now, Gaius, is this men-at-arms build you're thinking about here? Yes. Yeah, I think that's a good call. You would see if you extended the scouting here, would see the barracks going up for the Mayans player as well. Looks like the Mayans player has the same plan. With look at D3 houses. Yeah, it's a nice opening in between there. They will become relevant in a while. Okay, ouch. So far so good for Douglas Uppity here though. 2 on gold, 7 on wood, so wood shouldn't be an issue for the follow-up here. You don't really go men-at-arms into archers with Bulgarians though, so you need to do men-at-arms into, I don't know, walls and castellation knights maybe. And some wall off here, and a very nice open spot leading towards TC here. Now one thing I see here that is something to think about could be that you're taking one of the gold miners off gold to do the walls, but I see now that you have the gold enough to go for the man-at-arms upgrade, or you don't really need it even as Bulgarians here, so I'm wondering a little bit about the follow-up here actually, because you're with 2 on gold and probably setting up for walls and castlage here. Decent walls, except from the opening over here of course, but with the men-at-arms, or in my case snowmen, kicking in right away, you are in a perfect spot to intercept and stop FDVM's rush here. Now you could know that you didn't scout the barracks, but with a little bit more attention to scouting, your men-at-arms will just slaughter these guys. And yeah, house situation is something you probably noticed yourself. That's also something to keep in mind. Always have a look at this counter, try and not get housed in the middle of everything. Also, I see a bit of an issue with scouting here, that there is in fact still open on this side. So instead of using the scout to try and break through the walls, of course you could expect the player to be full walled here. Expect the player to be walled here, but since he's not, just make use of the scout and use the men-at-arms maybe to try and break in and cause discomfort still, but if you realize it's open, then you could just pass right through here and actually deal some real damage to the woodlands and stuff. Doesn't look like FDVM wants to exploit the opening though. Actually doesn't see that it's closed here. I always expect the Mayan player to be walled minute 5 to be honest. Well, that's actually a reasonable call to make, but it still doesn't justify not scouting it when you're already forward. I mean, I make the mistake myself, it's irrelatable, but considering that this was in fact not walled and that you have the heal for some extra damage potential here as well, you could have gotten 1 or 2 villager kills by now. Men-at-arms is in for the mines as well, but HP wise, this is a lead for Douglas Uppity here. Let's see who has the better micro. 1 for 1 there, scouts go down. Nice, taking the hill there, I love that. 1 pick off. Dancing around here, this snowman, I like it. 3, 4, wow, great micro here from Douglas Uppity. He's going to lose 1 man-at-arm, lost the scout as well, but wins the engagement here. Not bad at all, it's looking good so far. Falling slightly behind in production here, so that's something to keep in mind. Always try and look to the corner here, see if you're producing builders, and yeah, keep that production consistent. Farming eco looks healthy though, so I like that. Setting up for the castlage, roughly the same amount as the mines player here. So now, there is another hole in the edge to the forest. Yes, there's an opening actually. Also not scouted. Probably not scouted by either of them. So that's something to keep in mind for late. No, FTVM has it scouted but hasn't plugged it actually. That's peculiar. So I like how we keep using the men-at-arms just for general annoyance. Of course you have to dodge the archers and not lose them, but there's something you could either keep attacking walls and keep the army of the enemy busy, or you could use those two remaining men-at-arms to scout the remainders of the map. You've lost your scout now, you'll still need scouting intel. But keeping attacking is nice as well, because you force houses, you force reactions here to happen. And now looking at the eco tab, looks like Akkal-AOE is going to be in a better spot to go earlier through the cast stage as well. I see the Mayans players getting wheelbarrow now. This could be a huge difference moving on here to if the Mayans player has wheelbarrow and Akkal-AOE doesn't. Archer, skirmisher or tower follow-up. Don't tell people to go on Bulgarian archers. Okay, that one. They're not viable past Fuel Age. But here's the cast stage click, so we're going to look at a Knight Skirm follow-up maybe. I see the range is up here. So some range option is in the making, and the gap still open here. No, I don't think Bulgarian archers are worth it, but skirms and towers maybe would make sense. This woodline is kind of within tower range if you would place it over here. And you'll need the skirmishers to accompany your knights anyway. Also, FTVM has a fantastic map here. Just look at the main gold here. Pretty far in the back near the TC, and stone in the back as well for a potential defensive castle. I think there's other things coming into play here other than pure skill here for Akkal-AOE. It's for one thing, you're going to the cast stage now without wheelbarrow, which is something you can't know if the enemy has gone for it, but now the fact that FTVM is Mayans with longer lasting resources and has wheelbarrow, his builders will be working faster, his farmers will be more efficient, and in the long run Mayans will have a, so even with even builder counts, Mayans will have superior economy here. It's great to see the cast stage kicking in earlier though, and the stables are up here for Apili. Now let's see what FTVM will make of this. Oh. Oh, yes. Good morning. The almost perfect wall of Bulgaria here, and a quick realization there by Akkal-AOE to plug that gold. It's an elaborate trap to lead 5 Mayans archers into the base just to chase them with skirmishers and lead them to certain doom. I like the reaction here to pull the villagers away from the woodline. That cost a minimum of losses. Actually, I don't think you lost a single villager there, Akkal-AOE, so that's a good thing to see. Meanwhile, we'll see a little bit of eagles being added for FTVM here. Might be thinking about counter to the skirms here. But this is a good cleanup for Akkal-AOE here. We're at equal village counts. The difference being that FTVM has wheelbarrow and will be bringing in so much more resources. Just look at this, the difference here now with both players going into upgrades and production here. It's pretty huge for FTVM with that wheelbarrow research. Here come the knights, +1/+1. I'm guessing you went for that forging while going up to the cast stage because of because of having the food and cost for it, so I like that. But usually for the melee units you want to go for the defense upgrades first. So you want to try and get to +2 defense. Military numbers 12 to 8 now, skirmishers with full Fuel Age upgrades. Meanwhile we have FTVM going into Eagle Warrior here. I don't think that should be a threat against the knights here though. In +1/+1 you should still be able to contest small numbers of Eagle Warriors. Being Bulgarians here though, that's another option here to start mining stone and go for not Tower Rush but Krepos Rush here. to drop Krepos on the opponent who's just turtling at home and walling off. Look at this, for example. There's a hill here. There's a perfect spot for a Krepos to deny this gold and maybe even the stone, and at the very least the TC here. So exploit the hills. There's a hill on this side as well, so while FDVM has the great resource access in the back here to preserve them and make them somewhat safe, they are still very much subject to some Kreposts on the hills close to the base here, which would also be a nice strategic fallback point for Douglas Uppity for the armies, the Knights and Skirms to pull back to. This is a fight you can easily take if you see the archers passing through here. Just try and keep the enemy archers numbers low, take the good fights when you can. Oh, but here goes the gate, goes down for Douglas Uppity here. Spearman being added for FDVM now, doesn't have pike tech yet, so this could be some serious potential damage potential for the Knights here. The pikes aren't a threat either when Uppity has skirmishers, but the skirmishers are just chilling out over here, so I mean it's fine to have them at the ready to defend at home, but if you want to go for Knights and Skirms, make sure to keep them together and go for the efforts here. If you had Elite Skirm here, Douglas Uppity, I think they could even, well, they would certainly melt the Spearmen at the very least. It's not too easy to target them in the mix of these units here, but that's why you go Knights and Skirms, to have the Skirmishers to deal with enemy pikes. This is where my decision starts getting awful. Oh, okay. Well, you have 3 TCs, so you have the same eco as the opponent here. And FDVM seems to want to wall himself in here, just some safety there, safety first. And here comes a front TC, which could be disastrous for Douglas Uppity now with the enemy armies moving close. Yes, Eagle Pike is easily countered by... Eagle Pike is easily countered by Bulgarians, but not right now for Douglas Uppity, who doesn't have more than 1 barracks to produce from. But think of it this way: with Eagles and Pikemen mainly, your longswords counter both easily as Bulgarians. I think when you see the Eagles and Pikes like this from the Alliance player, well, your instant reaction should be, maybe not even another TC for eco, but just drop another few barracks instead and use the food and gold eco you've set up for the Knights to go into full longswords instead. And then you could add some siege forward with your longswords, and you'll be forcing the Mayans player to go back into crossbows, which might call for some eco adjustment as well. I never bothered going longswords because I felt like they would get shredded by archer, and that's a good call as well. So it comes down to adaptation in this this game, always, of course. And not to forget as well, you get longswords instantly as Bulgarians, so you don't spend any resources researching that, not time either, and you already have the skirmishers. So if you have longsword skirmishers here, you're basically fine, because your longswords will counter eagles and pikes. And your skirmishers will, if you can get to elite, they will counter the archers if the enemy goes for them. So you're in a good spot here still to contest. I think you shouldn't be too insistent upon the knights when the enemy has already made the tech switch. You really does, but way too late. But still though, this is relatable for me. You have Bilbo in now, which is great. It just came in a lot later than the Alliance player, and it's showing in the eco disposition here that FDVM getting Bilbo before the Castle Age click, I believe, did fall behind going into the Castle Age, but is rewarded with a so much stronger eco overall. Pushing deer. That's nice. Alright, so Douglas Uppity here is desperate for a better defense against or counter against pikes and eagles here now. We need to see. I mean, stables are okay-ish as well. If you could somehow make or find an opening in the mine space, you could still go for raids with knights or light cavalry. But right now, being subject to pikes and siege and a castle push, and with no response here, still only one barracks, it's really hard to push this back. Of course, if you could use the eco advantage of having a level 4 TC boom going here to get to the Imperial Age with Bulgarians, you'd have an easy time to get quicker to siege ram and maybe push back the Castellan production here quicker, but that's a while away now. You still need to fend off this pressure. Knights can, of course, handle the siege, but you still need something to deal with the pikes. Yep, so knights being shredded here, unfortunately. The forward TC will go down as well. Again, I'm thinking of the Krepos play as well as here on stone now. So while this one is lost, maybe start thinking about delaying any push into your base with some defensive Krepos at strategic locations here, maybe on the hill there, maybe over here to protect stones and golds. TC goes down though. Here comes even a monastery forward, so FTBM is constantly thinking about the counters here. What's FTBM's rank anyway? Yeah, so he's 1146. Probably a player playing Mines a lot. He seems very familiar with the civs here, playing into the strange and the switches, playing the strong eco game. I haven't looked at this guy's AoE net, but I also just realized I made castles defensively instead of Krepost. Yeah, but of course castles are fine as well. If you can afford them, that's no problem to go for them as well. You'd have access to unique technologies and these kinds of things. So it's very situational. Alright, so we have 1128 versus 1160 something, so FTVM is a little bit higher here as well. But let's look into FTVM later if he's one of these guys who plays mines a lot, because if you're very familiar with the Civ, it's just, again, it could be so much stronger. Eagle raids are in though, and this is looking tough for Bulgarians now. Still only one barracks here, so Douglas Uppity refusing to go into longswords here, unfortunately. I think that's one of the largest setbacks of this game, and even though the Knights masses now will deal decently with the Eagles, there's still going to be monks and pikes on the field for FTVM, and it's going to make it so much harder. Now I'm looking at a mass of 18 Knights now. Given the stone amount here, go for some defensive buildings, or maybe simply defensive stone walls around the core eco here, just to limit the eagle raids, and use the knights to try and get some raids in forward. I see even the stone gate here. This mine player is really playing it safe and contested here, but there is a lower top. This is things you could look for as well. I think the fundamental problem was I'm just not used to playing Bulgarians. I was mostly just picking them for fun. Yes, and then there's the case that Mayans have a direct economic bonus in their resources lasting longer, whereas Bulgarians don't have anything until the Castle Age, where their town centers and blacksmith upgrades are cheaper. I tend to pick Frank's purpose Lithuanians. Ooh, so we have a fellow cavalry player here, I like that. And I can certainly relate to unattended knights dying to enemy units under castles and pikes and whatnot as well. Looks like FTVM is slowly taking map control here. One thing that you have going for you here though, Douglas Uppity, is that you have the villager lead, you have the potential for eco income for the late game, and that's another thing I see here. With a market here now, you could sell some wood, buy some food, and just go up to the next age and try and get an advantage that way, because FTBM hasn't clicked up yet. So if you can get to the Imperial Age earlier, you'll have you have the longswordman instantly, you'll have traps to push down the castles, and the game could turn around because the scores are very even here. Some Scorp addition may also work if you want to commit to knights. Yes, certainly. And I agree that it's stressful to go for archers because you have to babysit these units the whole fucking time. Good job denying the castle though. 6 stables production here from the stables. Very consistent and keeping the numbers. Let's see the numbers here again. 24 to 22 military. Douglas actually with the villager lead here, but failing to acknowledge that the castle might go up here, but it looks like it's within range of the Bulgarian's castle here, so it should be fine overall. Gold access over here, and castle. I love the castle's placements here. Protecting golds, farms and stones here. There's nothing wrong about that. I actually see lots of strong kinds of play here, and I commend you for going for not always the same civs as well. What is, in my opinion, the main issue of the cast stage in this game is that you feel you're not counterattacking. Even with just a few knights forward, let's say you commit 3 or 4 knights to go forward and scout this area, you'll be finding this opening and you'll see that, okay, it's open. And if you could even hide the fact that it's open, you could sneak up a stable or 3 over here, and then you could send in some light cav raids with or even knights with the current economy you have going for you. You have 142 to 89 population here, setting up great for the late game here. But I can perfectly relate to not being active enough with the army, absolutely. Military numbers still rather similar here. No player going to the next stage. I think with let's see the numbers here. With 32 cavalry, you could actually consider idling army production at this point and save those food and gold to go up to the next stage. You already have the buildings needed. Castle counts as 2 buildings, so even if you're missing monastery or siege workshop, you are able to click up. And then again, still needing an answer to skirms, obviously, but having the castle to fall back to is certainly helpful here. The fact that FTVM is mainly going pikes here as well means that he is with a less mobile army than you are with the knights. So you could, again, just try and find some openings and try and go for some raids. Look for overchops. I think there is one over here now as well, maybe. And instead of constantly trying to push back here and fight pikes with knights, try and deal some real damage to the enemy economy, who is admittedly already quite low. It just happens so much to me that I get cocky going full knights, thinking they can take on the pikes and everything. Yeah. That's basically what got me to stabilize in the 1200 plus range as well, is that I was told by a good friend that you need always need a complementary unit, so you can't rely on just one unit like knights because they have cheap counters. You'll be spending lots of gold and food, whereas the other opponent will counter it with only food and wood spent. Here come the barracks though. What are we going to do? Supplies going into the longswords play now, finally going for the counter to eagles, maybe eagles and pikes maybe? Just now I make the switch, yes. Well, still we don't have any of you going to the Imperial Age, and by the looks of it, it's still Douglas Uppity here with the best setup for going to the Imperial Age, but now it looks like FTVM just adjusted a little bit with the market here and is going to click Imperial Age at roughly the same time. There we go, only 4% difference. I mean, with less investment into knights here from you, Douglas Uppity, you would have been in Imperial Age already. You would have pushed back this castle with the trap, because This castle will protect your troops from any pikemen or any other unit trying to snipe your units. Full pike from FDVM here now. It's going to have helps in the Imperial Age as well. I'm sure that the economy can support it. But it's certainly relatable. I see a cavalry player relying heavily on the cavalry, going to maybe almost win some numbers here, sacrificing so many knights to full pikes here, and they're gone. And we're down to 10 military and even less for those apathy here. On the way to the Imperial Age, mind you. This could have been 30 Cavalier in Imperial Age, but it's not going to happen, and the gold situation is rather scarce for Douglas apathy here. And look at the trades here, still 17 pikes allowed. And again, you see the sides here. That's now I'm not. Yeah, you have the left side scouted. You know there's something over here. Haven't scouted this at all. It's still wide open. Lots of idols here. But let's see if FDVM has that scouted. He has a little bit of scouting into them. Doesn't mean you could still sneak up some stables or whatnot here and get some raids in. And I think counter-attacking is my main issue with this game. And the fact that knights are much more mobile than pikes means that you could outrun them and dodge them as well. Through the Knight Skirmisher combo, you will win that fight also instead of switching to longswords. Yes. And overall resources is actually not any reason to resign here yet, because looking at the economy, so much more villagers, so much larger boom, you could still go into longswords, which would be 200 swordsmen and would shred these pikes. And then you still have the castle lab, could get a couple of traps out, maybe sell some stone or do whatever. And yeah. Also, let's see. For the next time you play cavalry with Bulgarians, remember when you have a castle to get stirrups as well. Because that's going to help you a lot in the fights here. With cavalry attacking 33% faster. And then you could also, in the Imperial Age, you could go for Bagains if you can afford it. You could go for Bagains as well, and you'd have really tanky 200 swordsmen to deal with the enemy pikes, no problem. Even if FDVM would go into halberdiers here, which he actually couldn't afford gold-wise, you'd be in a good spot. I don't think it was GG here, actually. But of course, when you don't know the civ well enough, it could feel kind of rough being constantly pushed like this. But just have a look at the resources here. Have a look at the total resources. This was quick play, okay, I see.